Hello, welcome back to SwansCast, another match preview, where this week I'm joined by Aaron to discuss all things Plymouth Argyle ahead of Swansea's trip down south to Plymouth. So welcome, Aaron.
Cheers for having me.
That's all right. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us where we can find your amazing content as well.
Oh, amazing. It's a bit of a stretch. But yeah, you can find us on predominantly Twitter and Facebook. If you just search Argyle Life. Argyle Life 1886 is the @tag. I think that's used across both. That's predominantly where you'll find us. Yeah, we've also got our podcast is confusingly with a different name, the Green and White Podcast.
Yeah. So on Twitter, you're Argyle Life, and then the Green and White Podcast on podcast platforms. Then.
Yeah, it wasn't my decision. It was long before I joined. So, but yeah, that's
fair enough. That's fine. I'm sure people will go and jump on. I know you said you're not doing anything pre-match for Swansea, but maybe you'll discuss it after the game, potentially.
Yeah. No, we'll preview Swansea, but we just won't have a separate preview.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, we'll get started as always. Don't forget to let us know in the comments what you're thinking about the game ahead. Obviously, this has been recorded before Swansea's midweek fixture. I know Plymouth played last night. So we don't have that to talk about with any sort of form, but we got Norwich tonight as is being recorded on Wednesday. But yeah, let's get stuck into it then. So I like to start with the summer, but not with the transfers. So has there been any change over the summer at your club? Obviously, you've come up from the division below, so you've got a promotion to celebrate and to sort of build a platform going into a new league. So any changes at the club that maybe will help you with this next step?
No, I think the opposite. I think it's actually consistency. Obviously, you say last season came up, didn't just get promoted. We obviously won the league with 101 points, beating Ipswich in the process and Sheffield Wednesday. They're having, I think we're having three completely different seasons from each other this year. I think that'd be fair to say. No, I think actually it's consistency. Obviously, there's been a bit of turnover in players and stuff. You know, the usual stuff when you go up. But you know, I think actually consistency is winning the day. Apart from a few tweaks in the formation, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but we sort of switched to a 4-3-3. Which I don't think suits us very well. I think we switched back to the back three, back five, whatever you want to call it, for the 6-2 win over Norwich. So if you can replicate that tonight, that'd be interesting. Yeah. So and then we played that away again at Hull, got a credible draw, and then we switched back to the back four last night, and yeah, Millwall managed to get a 2-0 win, and we just weren't at it. So the formation doesn't really suit us. So that's the only thing that's really changed. But I can imagine by the weekend we'll be back to the back three, back five that won us 101 points last season. So yeah, apart from a few transfers, obviously we've got Luke Cundle, as you gave us the run through of him. He's already got 3 this season for us. So yeah, it's by and large very consistent.
Yeah. I was going to go into transfers next, and I guess there's 2 obvious places to start. You mentioned Luke Cundle already. And yeah, 3 goals already makes me think maybe we didn't use him to his maximum potential when he was here last year. Although it would have been his first proper season at this level, potentially taking that experience over to you guys and you seeing a little bit more maybe of what he has to offer. Positive start for him with you guys. And the other person, I guess, that maybe you can touch on for us is, could argue, the one that got away, and Morgan Whittaker. And you mentioned that 6-2 win against Norwich when he bagged a hat-trick by all means.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I forgot that, actually. I've mentioned Luke Cundle and didn't mention Morgan Whittaker. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know how that's happened. But yeah, Cundle, let's start with him. He's you know, we still haven't seen loads of him, despite him getting 3 goals. He got one of those came in the League Cup against Crystal Palace. Absolutely lovely strike. Oh God, where did his others come from? He scored one against Norwich recently at home, and
I think it was early in the season, wasn't it? One of the first
games. Yeah. He's sort of like, but he's sort of having to. He's rotating a lot. Schumacher likes a rotation. We call it Shui roulette. And he's, you know, patiently getting his minutes in. He looks like a great option off the bench. Yeah, he looks you can tell he's young, but you can tell that it's like not his first rodeo at this level. So thanks for betting him in last season. We'll say that. And then one that you didn't bet in as well at this level, Morgan Whittaker, as you say, got a hat-trick against Norwich at home, but he's not a winger. Let's put it that way. He's brilliant. He loves to just take pot shots, and sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. He's getting more clinical, which is obviously brilliant to see. When we switched to the 4-3-3, he's him and Mumba, who we both paid £1 million for, which for us is big money. For you, that's pennies. But for us, that's big money, and we're not getting the best out of either of those in the 4-3-3. So if he plays in the 10 against you, I feel like he's gonna want a notch, at least one on Saturday. But only 2 career hat tricks, one against us for yourselves in the League Cup, and then one for us against Norwich.
Yeah, and the League Cup. That's crazy. But to think that the hat trick he scored for us was against the team that he now is doing so well for.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And that's the performance that everyone kind of looked at when they said he should have been given more game time at Swansea. But I don't know if you saw that match, but I maintain to this day he didn't really do much in that match other than score the goals. He didn't look that exciting. And for that specific match as well, I was more impressed with another person who's left since, called Kyle Joseph. And said I thought Morgan Whittaker was in the right place at the right time to kind of get at the end of these moves. And
that's really one from a goal scorer, though, is it?
Yeah. And I'm not arguing against it, but
we need a striker that could be in the right place at the right time. We've got two great options that are three that are absolutely rapid. We haven't seen much of Mustafa Bundu yet, whose story is a mad one. Came to us via Newquay, Hereford, Argus, Anderlecht, then FC Andorra. So he's adventured a bit. But we've basically got 3 very fast options. And like I said, I haven't seen much of Bundu yet, but they all seem very much in the same sort of ilk. So we basically just need somebody that can just put it in the onion bag. It's a slightly different option, but
no, that's fair. I didn't mean to necessarily discredit Whittaker with that. It's just from that specific game, people like to sort of say, we should be using him more because of this. Whereas I understand why he necessarily didn't get him the minutes and he went on loan. But we definitely didn't utilise him to his potential, that's for sure. He obviously showed what he could do when he was on loan at you guys last year. And I think some issues with Russell Martin and the board and disagreements amongst the transfer window resulted in him getting recalled. Board thinking, look, we got you a new player, we got you a striker by recalling him. And then Russell Martin kind of thrown his toys out the pram and wasn't the option that he wanted, so didn't really use him.
Did you play him in last season? Because obviously I know when he came back, he wasn't like... Well, he didn't play out wide? Because
that's what I was going to say. He didn't play as 10, and I know he came back and said, I think part of the reason he flourished and for him to have a successful Swansea career, he wanted to continue that and play as 10, but he didn't really use a 10 in the system we were using. So he was either played up top or out wide, usually out wide.
Okay.
On the right, I think.
Yeah. We're having that debate now whether he's it's not really a debate, it's just plainly obvious that he's so much better in that 10. So maybe that's why you didn't see the best of him. Maybe it wasn't actually maybe it was just a tactical thing rather than a...
Yeah, probably. And I think the way that he was kind of messed around a bit and then got brought back and Russell Martin didn't really use him. He spent most of the second half of the season on the bench, was the nail in the coffin. You can't blame him for wanting to go back somewhere that ultimately he's kind of one of your main men, if not the main man up top.
Yeah. One of
well, we'll see if he'll have a point to prove when we play you on the weekend. Hopefully not. I'm hoping he's got his good form out of the way with that hat-trick at Norwich, but we'll see. So you mentioned already a bit about the formation. It was kind of going to be part of what I was going to ask in regards to what style of play do you expect to see from your team, and obviously including the formation and maybe the lineup that you expect to see in this game. You said about the 2 different ones you've used. I like the way you were talking about your 4 at the back, but it sounds like you're maybe not going to expect to see that against us.
Well, there was a big thing. I don't actually know if you read it yourself, but there was a big thing on the NTT20 Substack, their new newsletter about all the teams that played a back five in the Championship last season have stopped doing it this season. So obviously it's a big tactical thing across the board. We moved to a back four, I think, predominantly because of just options. We're a bit light in the fullback areas, predominantly just due to injuries. We stocked up over the summer and made sure we had, I would say we had 2 players per position, but just injuries have hit us in the left back area predominantly. And basically the back four just means that we can push Mumba further forward. But he is just so much better at a wing back, coming on to the ball deep. Yeah. So, I think we've been slightly forced into the back four. I'm hoping we don't play that. I'm hoping we go back to the back five for you. I'd much rather see Matt Butcher play as a centre back, and we have one person out of position rather than 3, 4, 5, just to try and accommodate our best player, sort of thing. And it's just clearly not working. Like, the options we have at fullback are wing backs. They're predominantly wingers, to be honest, but they suit that wing back role. With the back three, we have Pleguezuelo, who can sort of slot into a CDM role when we're pushing forward, or if we need another man in midfield, which solidifies that. So yeah, I'm hoping we do that. And then my thoughts on the lineup will depend on injuries. Lewis Gibson's missed the trip to Harland, didn't play last night against Millwall, so I assume he might be back. And if that is, that's a huge boost for us. Macaulay Gillespie, left-sided centre-back, is slowly picking up minutes again after taking a knock in. Did he take a knock in pre-season, or was it before pre-season? But anyway, he hasn't played much this season. Got his first start up at Hull. So on Saturday. Yeah, so ideally, in an ideal world, for me, it's Conor Hazard in goal. Absolutely massive. 7 foot, 8 foot Northern Ireland international, should be ahead of Bailey Peacock-Farrell. We'll most probably go with Joe Edwards at right wing back, 3 centre backs of Dan Scarr, Julio Pleguezuelo, who turned down European football with FC Twente to come to us, which is just a mad sentence to say.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's it. For an Argyle fan, that's bad. Yeah, you've had a fair few, should we say, European standard talents in your time, so it's most probably not as mad for you. And then next to them, hopefully Lewis Gibson, left wing back, Barley Mumba, who I'd look out for him. If you don't know who Barley Mumba is by now, then I don't know where you've been hiding. League One young player of the season last season, an absolute terror when he's attacking from that deeper position. It'll be Jordan Houghton and Adam Randall, hopefully, although I can imagine Randall might be rested for minutes. Schumacher loves a rogue selection, or we call it Shui Roulette, as I alluded to earlier, where he will just, whether he picks names out of a hat or something, we're not really sure, but he loves to change things up, let's put it that way. And then where have we got a midfield slot? So we've got 2. Then it'll be Finn Azaz alongside Morgan Whittaker in the 10, hopefully, praying. I'll back Morgan Whittaker, first goal scorer. And then Ryan Hardy up top. That's pretty much it.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. I am making the trip down, so I would like Morgan Whittaker to not open the scoring if that's possible. But well,
I don't know what your curse of former players is.
It was quite bad. It has been quite bad, but it's been a bit cool the last few seasons. I'm hoping the curse is over. But we had a really torrid run of it for quite a few years, actually. Sam Klukas probably the icing on the cake, recent memory,
right.
but last season or so, it's cooled a bit. So I'm hoping that it's not going to come back.
I can't think if you've got any former Greens in your squad. I don't think you have at the moment.
I don't think so. But you've got 2 Swans, and they're both in attacking positions.
Yeah, Matt Grimes is obviously an Exeter lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Josh Key, they might want to get on the score sheet.
I don't know if Key will make it. He did pick up an injury. I don't know if he's I'm not sure how he's doing. He might be back. I think he might have played actually in the last game. So we'll see whether he gets rotated out, because I know they're playing a lot of minutes at wing back, and that's one of the areas they look to change. We've got Ashby in the wings, but if I'd imagine Key will start if he is fully fit. So hopefully both of them will get on the score sheet. Yeah, okay. Well, you answered a little bit more of my next question there. I was going to ask you about what key players to watch out for. So is there anyone else you want to touch on before we move on from that one?
Surprisingly, I would say Jordan Houghton, a man that most fans at this level most probably never heard of. Chelsea youth prospect. He's one of the, I want to say, elder statesmen of the team, even though he isn't. You get called old now when you're like 27, don't you? Yeah, he's one of those. He's stepped up into the Championship unbelievably well. Just calms everything in the middle of the park. Him and Adam Randall, their partnership in the middle has been outstanding. I've tipped Adam Randall to go and play Premier League football. And people are slowly starting to come around to that idea, because he is. I likened him on a whole podcast. I likened him to Xavi Alonso, and I don't really know where that came from. But just in the idea that, that's a huge claim. Don't really know where that's come from, but more to the fact that he can put a ball on the sixpence. His distribution is wonderful, and he's Plymouth lad, so obviously, love him even more for that. But apart from that, obviously Ryan Hardy as well. He's been leading the goal scoring charts at points this season. So if you sit back and don't give us any room, which I can't imagine you will, it's not really the Swansea way, you'll be fine. If you give us space in behind, then Hardy will exploit that, and so will Whittaker. So just don't do that.
Well, we'll try our best. We'll be looking to counter it, imagine, as well. Kind of a bit of a press and
so it should,
bit of countering direct fast ball. I mean, we do like to still try and keep the ball, but not to the extent at all of past seasons, But then if you are pushing forward, we'll try and catch you on the break. But it's still work in progress at the moment, so it's not fully. The last two games have been better, but it's not fully there yet.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. We played Millwall last night. Sat in a low block. They got the first goal, and that's what won them the game, really. Obviously, the second one, I think we retweeted it. Go and check it out. Kane Kessler-Hayden gets absolutely clotheslined, gets his actual GBH for the second goal from Zian Fleming. The more you watch it, actually, the funnier it is. So we were going to lose it anyway. So just enjoy it. It's a good little snippet. But yeah. Where was I going with this point? Good question. Just about
Millwall, it was. About losing to Millwall.
They scored first, sat deep, didn't give us any room to play in.
I'm hoping it's a good omen, because obviously we've got Norwich tonight. You've just beaten them 6-2. And we beat Millwall the other day 3-0. And they beat you. So in theory, that means we should beat you guys and Norwich then. Maybe.
Maybe. Judging by the discourse, Millwall shored up an awful lot last night, so it might have been a lot different to how they were when they played. Obviously, Rowett's very close to the door, isn't he? You can't really read it into results that way.
I know. I'm just wishful thinking, If we could beat Norwich tonight, I'll be even more back in that statement.
You got them home or away?
Hope Norwich are down here tonight.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they're home.
I actually went to the Liberty Stadium with Norwich when I was at uni in Norwich with a mate. We watched. I think you just signed Leroy Fer from them, and it was 0-0. It was an awful long Cup coach.
Premier League.
Yeah, very one of the worst games I've ever seen.
I can imagine maybe it was one of our poorer seasons if he had just signed. I'm not quite sure the time in there. But 0-0, never a good one when you're on an away day, long trip like that, is it? Okay, I'm going to flip that last question on to you then before we end, and just ask what Swansea City players you're a little bit worried about going into this game.
Oh, good question. I should have done some research. Let's have a really quick...
Off the cuff, if you could think of a name and think, know a little bit about him.
Let's have a look at your squad.
So, I know you mentioned the two.
Jerry Yates. Jerry Yates is, a decent goal scorer at this level, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a
Judging by
couple for us.
Yeah, judging by FOTMob, he's got 3 for you this year. Charlie Patino, maybe.
Patino.
He's a player that I think we were like vaguely rumored to. It was never going to happen, but you know, those media aggregators on Twitter linked us to him. He's stepped up a gear again this season by all accounts. And,
he's definitely done well for us since he's come in. 3 assists.
Yeah, Jamal Lowe, he's notched a few past us in a few seasons. And then the 2 we've already mentioned in Matt Grimes and Josh Key. I just think being Exeter lads, it's just like to get one over on us.
I confirmed he is back from his injury. I was a little bit out of the loop this week because I've been away for the Rugby World Cup. So while the Millwall game was actually on, I was travelling, but he did play in that game. So I'd imagine he will start. So yeah, one of them hopefully will look to their roots to get on the score sheet. Hopefully.
I did actually. I was actually pretty impressed when you signed Carl Rushworth as well, because I think that's a good little pickup. I don't know how he's got on there.
He's been quite solid lately. He had a bit of a quiet start, but he's definitely showing he's a strong goalkeeper, especially shot stopping.
It's one of those. He kept getting England call ups ahead of like Michael Cooper and stuff. So even though he played in they played in League 2 at the time, and we were just like, yeah, fair enough. He's obviously got something about him. I mean, being from a Premier League academy always helps, but. He just looks a bit of a talent. So, have you got him on a permanent, or is that loan?
Nah, just on loan for the season.
Oh, right.
Okay. Well, thanks for all of that lovely information, and don't want to wish you the best of luck for the weekend. I hope I'm coming back up the don't know what is it, the M5, up the M5 back to Wales.
You change on to the M5
with 3 points. On Saturday.
Right.
But before you go, I do like to ask at the end of all these videos, what would be your favourite pint of choice at any football ground if you go to watch a game?
A pint or a pie?
Pint, but you can answer both if you want.
Okay, a pint. I'm famously known for having a shandy. I'm not a very big drinker.
That's fair.
I'm a heavy man, but a very lightweight drinker. So let's say a shandy of, I don't know, whatever.
Any beer.
Normally the cheapest lager, an Amstel shandy. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Fine.
If it wasn't a beer, you could have a different drink.
Yeah. No, we'll go with that. That's what I'm semi-known for. Known for. Like that's...
known for a shandy. That's impressive.
Yeah, and then... pie. Steak. Interesting. Steak. Obviously, really I'd go for a pasty, but that's not a pie, so
no. I do like I've come from Wales, lamb and mint pasty. That's a nice one. I know it's not a pie, but that's still good Wales filling of choice. And the sausage being a cheese melt as well, probably a good pasty.
That's a good shout. It's the only thing I'll give Greg's credit for.
It is a good one. It is good. But yes, thank you very much then. So I'll end the video there. So obviously Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it? Normal standard kickoff time. Yeah, good luck for the rest of the season. Looks like it's going quite decent for you, and I hope you maintain the push, I guess, to stay in the league this year and then see where it goes. You're doing better than us at the moment, so it's easy to say that, isn't it? So, but yeah, we'll I'm sure catch up again later in the season. Yeah,
cheers. And like I said, good luck after Saturday.
Yeah. And I hope Morgan Whittaker continues to excel for you, but just not this week. Maybe he can have an off day.
Yeah. We'll see. He doesn't. When he has an off day, he has an off day. But I can't see that happening if we switch back to the back 5. So.
We'll wait and see. But thank you, Aaron. So obviously go check out Argyle Life on Twitter and the Green and White podcast on other podcast services.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Let us know in the comments below what you think about everything we've discussed today. Leave a like on the video, and as always, subscribe, and we shall catch you in the next one. Thank you very much.